Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So happy to be here. We speak what language here? English, huh? This is English. Huh? Deutsch, Deutsch.
Aquí hablamos puro español, ¿no? Él habla español. No. Ya, vuelvo ahí, ya. Cállate.
Yo creo que tú hablas más alemán que el español.
No, mi alemán fue muy básico.
¿Ah?
Muy básico. Básico, mi alemán. Muy básico.
Siguru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Satma Bandumui Savadana Mate Yara Prasade Bai E Baba Toriya Jai Krishna Prapti Oya Oite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Arna Koriyo Mane Asha Sri Guru Charane Rati Se Uttamagati Ye Prasade Pure Sarvasha Chakutana Dilaje Janme Janme Prabhu Se Chakutana Dilaje Janme Janme Prabhu Se Divya Jnana Rire Prakashito Divya Jnana Rire Prakashito Prema Bhaktiya Oite Avidya Vinasayate Prema Bhaktiya Oite Avidya Vinasayate Vede Gaya Hara Charito Vede Gaya Hara Charito Siguru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Siguru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Haraha Prabhu Kora Doya De Amore Padachaya Ah Prabhu Kora Doya De Amore Padachaya Evi Yasagu Shukti Bhuvana Evi Yasagu Shukti Bhuvana Duya Padaloy Sharana Prabhupada Patita Pavana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this morning, by Srila Prabhupada's grace, we are going to read a very interesting information about the perfect society, the 4 social orders. Ritam unchasilam proktam amritam yat ayachitam mritam tu nitya yaknasyat pramritam karshanam smitam satyamritam cha vagniyam svavritir nicha sevanam varjayet tam sada vipro Rajanyasya Jugupsitam Sarva Veda Mayo Vipra Sarva Devo Mayo Nripa. 7th Canto, Chapter 11, Text number 20. English is okay, no? In time of emergency, one may accept any of the various types of professions known as Rita, Amrita, Amrita, Pramrita, and Satyandrita, but one should never, at any time, accept the profession of a dog. The professions of Unchasila, collecting grains from the field, is called Rita. Collecting without begging is called Amrita. Begging grains is called Mrita. Tilling the ground is called Pramrita. And trade is called Satyanrita. Engaging in the service of low-grade persons, however, is called Svavriti, the profession of the dogs. Especially Brahmanas and Kshatriyas should not engage in the low and abominable service of Sudras. Brahmanas should be well acquainted with all the Vedic knowledge, and Kshatriyas should be well acquainted with the worship of the demigods. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Shatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. The 4 divisions of human society The 4 divisions of human society were created by the Supreme Lord according to the 3 modes of material nature, and the work ascribed to them. Formerly, the principle of dividing human society into four sections, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, was strictly followed. But because of gradual neglect of the Varna Ashrama principles, Varna Shankara population developed, and the entire institution has now been lost. In this age of Kali, practically everyone is a Sudra. Kalau Sudra Sambhava. And finding anyone who is a Brahmin, Kshatriya, or Vaishya is very difficult. Also, the Krishna conscious movement is a movement of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. It is trying to re-establish the divine Varna Ashrama institution. For without this institution of society, there cannot be peace and prosperity anywhere. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Shakshun Militam Jene Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yad Kripatam Hang Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. O Prabhupada, you are the master of the masters. Your divine intervention in this world has been totally revolutionary. Even here in this shloka and its purport, you're giving such divine and profound instructions. It is actually amazing. Srila Prabhupada is amazing, was amazing, and will always be amazing. What he is teaching to us is definitely beyond any imagination. Because he's coming from the spiritual world, he is giving us the life and the light from the Srimad Bhagavatam and the pure devotion. So we are confronted with a very difficult situation in Kali Yuga because Kalau Sudra Sambhavam, everybody is a Sudra practically. And still Prabhupada says, I started a movement of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So, which means that just by contacting Srila Prabhupada, he made us somehow into Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. This is a very magical transformation. This is unimaginable. How could he transform Sudras, Chandalas, the worst of the mankind, into Vaishnavas? It is by the magic of the holy name of Mahaprabhu's mission. Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, 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 Gati Anyata. Now, how does this transformation take place? Well, it takes place when we follow what Prabhupada tells us. As soon as we don't follow what Prabhupada tells us, it becomes invalid, and we become patita, fallen again. We fall again into the material world. But if we take shelter of his instruction, we can rise again. So that is the power of the devotion, of the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. By following a pure devotee, you can rise to the standard of a Brahmin. That is being proven by the many, many Brahmin preachers who are around the world engaged in as much as they can in the proper engagement. Now we have many types of services mentioned here, and I want to go through them one by one to make us aware how much we are affected by it. So we have the Rita, Amrita, Mrita, Pramrita, Samyamrita, and we have the profession of the dog. The profession of Unshasila, collecting grains from the field, is called Rita. So collecting grains from the field. When do you do that? Well, you can do that if you are a servant in a farm and there's the grain collection is going on, then you can also participate. And everybody who's collecting grains, he's also getting some grains for survival. Then after the grain has been harvested, you can go and have a second search. When the COVID was going on, we went to the farms around Warshana and we had a second search on the potatoes, on the squash. So we were feeding the devotees by collecting from the fields because it was a very difficult time. Nobody was allowed to move. Nobody was allowed to visit the temples. So we did that secondary collection in the field. That was so nice because we were actually able to maintain our temple devotees by the grains we were collecting in this way, especially the vegetables. Then the next thing is here, tilling the ground is called pramrita. So, no, here first of all, collecting without begging is called amrita. Begging grains is called mrita. So devotees sometimes they go and they beg. Like in South America, we go to the market, to the vegetable market, and we tell them we have a big Sunday feast. Please give us some vegetables so we can distribute them freely. And generally the people are so generous. We have done this in Brazil, we have done this in Chile, we have done this in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and all over. So wonderful. The people are very happy. I personally went out in Bolivia and collecting the vegetables from the mamitas who come from the farms with their vegetables. And it is so sweet activity to collect the donations from the farmers yourself. This is called amrita. Rita. Amrita is when they give to you without begging. Begging grains is called mrita. Tilling the ground is called pramrita. So if you have some land and you're actually growing the grains, you're growing for Krishna. This is also, we have done that in many places. In Hungary, we have grown grains. We have grown grains now in our farm in Bogota. We are growing so many foodstuffs, such a different variety. Our eco farm is totally ecologic, and we have any kind of variety you can imagine: broccoli, cauliflower, and also very sophisticated things like sagu, and it's just many, so plentiful. So this is also very beautiful. It is called pramrita. And trade is called satyamrita. So sometimes devotees are also trading some foods or doing some other trading. Devotee business. The devotees have been selling incense. They have been selling dresses, jewelry. They have been dressing paintings. They have been selling even some produce from the farm. We have also been selling. So this process called Satyamrita, we have always also been engaged, but engaging in the service of Svavriti, that is the profession of the dogs, when you become a servant of a Sudra, when you're working in a company and everybody is a mlecha and a yavana, everybody is of bad qualities and you are the servant, that is called Svavriti, the service or the profession of the dogs. That we should not do. We can be beggars, we can be farmers, we can be so many things, but we cannot be the servants of the Sudras. Why? Because that brings you down to the Sudra level. If your boss is a smoking, drinking, woman hunting man, then you will also be affected by that association. So this is not at all recommended. It is abominable, says Srimad Bhagavatam here. And in Kali Yuga it's very difficult. Devotees have to be kind of entrepreneurs or just straight preachers. This is not so difficult. I can tell you from my personal experience, my main work is preaching Krishna consciousness. And I haven't had one single day, except Ekadasi, when there was no food. I mean, Ekadasi, we don't want to eat. We want to do fasting. But otherwise, we have seen by serving Krishna, food is always coming. Always, even in big temples, many devotees are fed. Sometimes I've seen in temples that they can feed thousands of people. In India, it's very common for devotees to go to the farmers and to collect potatoes and grains, rice and so. And the farmers are very pious. And when the devotees come to pick up some bags of their produce, the farmers are very happy. They're happy to supply. Oh, we were tilling the ground. We were working hard. Now the Brahmins come and they ask for some food for doing distribution. They give whatever they want to give. We have seen that charity spirit is there, especially in India. It is more there. But even in Germany, I remember a long time ago, we were doing Sankirtan in Germany, and we decided not to purchase anything. We were going from door to door, and in the evening, after we finished our book distribution, we would go to different doors and knock at the door and says, "We are traveling monks. Do you have anything to eat for us?" The people could not believe their eyes. They went, "What? You're traveling monks?" "Yes, and we only eat vegetarian food. If you have anything to give to us." And the people were so surprised, and they were so generous. They would bring butter, marmalade, bread, and so many other things for us to eat. And it was very nice. But when Srila Prabhupada came to Germany, we told him that we were doing that. And then he objected. He says, "No, we cannot eat that bread which they are eating because it's coming from bread houses which are not so clean. Maybe they use eggs there." So Prabhupada said, it's better we buy our food and offer to Krishna than to beg the food from the people. And of course, we obeyed Srila Prabhupada because whatever he said was law for us. But I do remember the time when we begged the food and the experience was extremely nice. because the people were so touched at heart how a young man comes to their door, says, I'm a begging monk, you have something to eat for us. They were touched. They loved it, because it is true, the devotees were out all day selling books, and the book sales was going to the temple to maintain the temple and to print more books. So devotees were not using that money which they could use for buying food. Anyhow, by the order of Srila Prabhupada, we did not continue that, but we did continue to collect donations from the farmers in the big grocery stores, in the big marketplaces where all the food arrives for the big cities. I also remember once I was on a walk with Srila Prabhupada in London, and I told Srila Prabhupada, dear Srila Prabhupada, would it be possible to make prasadam distribution by offering the entire food market to Lord Krishna? Then all the people who buy the food later, they will eat prasadam because it was already offered to Krishna. Prabhupada looked at me, I will not forget that look. He was looking like, oh, you're trying to outsmart the system, huh? Yeah. He said, that is a nice idea, but said real prasadam is if a person goes with his money and buys some vegetables or grains, and he goes to the temple and he gives those grains and vegetables as a donation to Krishna. And the devotees utilize those grains and vegetables and prepare some delicious food for Thakurji. And then when the Mahaprasadam comes from the altar, then that man who's given the donation, he's standing there, and to get a morsel, like he's begging for a small part of prasadam from that food which was offered, which he had donated. And Prabhupada said, that is real prasadam. People have to realize this is for God, and we are participating, we are doing part of the offering, and now we are receiving the remnants. He said, that's real prasadam. So like if I sell cookies, and the cookies are offered to Krishna, okay, it's nice. I may be thinking I'm doing a prasadam distribution, but in the mind of the people, they are not. They're just buying a cookie and that's it. So they're not getting the real idea of prasadam. So one time in ISKCON time, a big cookie factory was coming up. Actually, Rameswar from Los Angeles, he went to see Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj asked him what they were doing. And at that time, they were distributing so many cookies. So Rameswar said, oh, we are selling a lot of prasadam. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, how do you do that? He said, oh, we have a cookie factory and we are selling the cookies. And he was not impressed. He wasn't thinking, oh, this is a great preaching. Different when devotees actually cook prasadam and distribute prasadam from their own hand. But the manufacture of prasadam in a large scale and selling, it may be okay for making some money for the temple, but this is not the real idea of prasadam distribution. So here we have it lined out, what is really the best way of doing service, how to get the food we need. You can go to the land, you can ask the farmers, you can till the land yourself. That is also called pramrita, tilling, growing your own food on the land. And of course, then you have to offer it to Krishna to make it prasadam. But, and trade is called satyamrita. So you're buying and selling any kind of item, and from that income you buy bhoga and you offer to the deity. That is also okay. All these activities are accepted, except becoming a servant of a Sudra. That is not good. Of course, it depends on the circumstances, but if you're working in a company and everybody's smoking, drinking around you, everybody's in material consciousness, that is not nice. That affects. So if you're serving under the dogs, you are in danger of becoming a dog yourself. So that is why Sadashiva wanted to give up the job there and do other things, because then you have to serve the dogs all the time. And it's not that we are talking bad about them. It's just the Sudra and the Mlecha, that's what they are. They eat anything, they drink anything, they smoke anything, they talk any kind of filthy things. Well, that's a contamination. That is not Brahminical. Brahminical is to know the scriptures, to follow the scriptures, to only eat what has been offered to the Lord. That is Brahminical lifetime. So in this way, Prabhupada said, yes, there are emergencies. According to the emergency, we may have to do the one or the other. Anything but serving a Sudra. So that means Prabhupada is making a point here, that emergency, we have to adopt so many types of activities, like selling something. So, but actually selling something is, if you're selling an item which is Krishna conscious, is very wonderful. Selling a book about Srila Prabhupada, of Srila Prabhupada, that is topmost Sankirtan service. Prabhupada was very pleased when his books were sold. Anyway, or you give the book by the internet. Whatever way you can achieve that the person may read Prabhupada's books, it's a great achievement. Very, very wonderful. Prabhupada wanted us to be Brahmins. And here it says, the symptoms of a Brahmin is control of the mind, control of the senses, austerity and penances, cleanliness, satisfaction, forgiveness, simplicity, knowledge, mercy, truthfulness, and complete surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh my God. This is what a Brahmin is like. Brahmins are not like something you can get everywhere. You are very lucky if you meet a Brahmin and you're serving a Brahmin. Very lucky. Somebody can control the mind, is always talking about Krishna. He controls the senses. He follows the four regulative principles. He does austerity and penance. He gets up early, he takes cold shower, and he is doing penances. He's chanting mantras. He's always clean. He's always satisfied with what he can get for living. He's forgiving. If anybody offends him, he will not take offense. Simplicity. He will simply try to do the best for Krishna. He has a lot of knowledge because he reads Prabhupada's books. He has mercy upon the fallen soul because he wants to preach to everybody to take up Krishna consciousness. He's truthful. He will not speak any lie. He will just say what he has learned. And complete surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is a Brahmin. That is what Srila Prabhupada wanted to transform us to. But then he said, but there is emergencies. In emergency, you may have to do this. For example, some people go and get money from the government. This is something happening nowadays, very common. So, if you get money from the government, you have to use every penny for Krishna. If you simply think they're giving me the money, now I can enjoy, then it will not be good for you. Not at all. It will be karma. You're getting the Sudra money from the dirty business and you're just enjoying it for yourself. That is very bad karma. So if you do get money from a government because you're a pensioner or something like that, then you have to use that money for Krishna's service, not for sense gratification. And nowadays it's very common that people get money from the government. It's very common. So that makes their mind become degraded because they're taking the dirty money and they're spending it in an unbonafide way simply for their sense gratification. So then it is a great karmic responsibility because somebody has worked for that money. If you get money from the government, that money was given by somebody who worked for it. So you get that karma coming to you. If you don't use it for Krishna's service, it will be a liability. You will have to pay it back in some future. So it's not a very good idea. But if you do get money from the government, you use it for Krishna, then you can transcend this. You can transcend the negativity. As a matter of fact, if I take some money from the government, I spend it for Krishna, the person who gave this money to the government is going to gain sukriti, agyata sukriti. But he doesn't know it, but his money he gave ends up serving Krishna. That means that he's gaining something very powerful, very, very positive. So in this way, this is what I wanted to say this morning to you. And we should be very careful to do service according to the emergency, but always for Krishna, always thinking about Krishna. Krishna is our all in all. We have nobody except Krishna. Krishna is for us our life and our soul. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
I have a question which comes to my mind always, but it's not exactly related to this. I want to ask about this war in Ukraine.
What? Speak loud.
India is supporting, I think, the bad guy, this Russia. And after having this Mahabharata and all this, why they do like this, I think they are not governed by principles, but is the Mahabharata, maybe I misunderstand, like Krishna says, he is accommodating everybody, and I wonder why India does supporting the aggressor. Russia is the aggressor and India supporting them. Is this the philosophy of the Mahabharata?
Okay, I got your point. You don't have to repeat it twice. First of all, Russia is not the aggressor. American interests in Ukraine were creating trouble for Russia and Russian-speaking people. Many Russian-speaking people were killed in Ukraine, and they were prohibited from speaking Russian and so many things. Number two, Russia never attacked other countries. France attacked Russia, Napoleon. Germany attacked Russia. Russia never attacked other countries. Russia won the Second World War and came all the way to Berlin. Yes, because they won the war, and all these countries had been fighting against Russia. But then Russia moved out of Germany, moved back to Russia, and gave the Germans back their freedom. What the Americans never did, the Americans are still sitting in Ramstein with all the atomic weapons, and they have not given up control of Germany. And Gorbachev also closed the Iron Curtain. So that's when all these countries, they became autonomous again. And Russia only said one thing: don't make them NATO members. Don't make them aggressors against us. But they did. They made them all NATO members. So in this way, it is unfair to say that Russia is the aggressor. Of course, when it comes to India, India has nothing to do with this. India is doing business with Russia because India is a big country. They need to feed 1.5 billion people. So they have to buy cheap oil or whatever they get. And where they get it, they will buy it. That doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with a conflict which Russia may have at some of its frontiers. Countries always have conflicts on their frontiers. This is a common thing. That's why the maps are changing every year. Every so many years, the maps are changing because there's conflicts about language and this one and that one. So we are not concerned with that. We are concerned with holy India, holy Bharata, and with the holy seva of our holy Dham, Vrindavan, Mayapur, Puri, that, and whoever believes in Sanatan Dharma, he is our friend. Those who don't believe in Sanatan Dharma, we are praying for them, but they're not our intimate friends because they don't know what is Sanatan Dharma. So don't put any country down on this. If you want to know aggressors, well, the Germans, they are aggressors. They are very aggressive. And all the Europeans are aggressors. All the colonialists who went to other countries and exploited them, they are aggressors. What Europe did in Africa and until today is doing, that's very aggressive, very horrible. So if you want to find aggressors and reject aggressors, fine, do so. So reject your so-called Western civilization. You can reject them, but don't reject people, but always preach to everybody. Everybody is a potential devotee, whether Russian or they're Ukrainian or actually Ukrainian and Russian. There's so many nice devotees there. So it's very sad that this fight is going on. It's very sad, but it is not the fault of one party. And those who are saying they want to make peace, they actually want to sell weapons. They were about to make peace, then the president of England went there and told them not to make peace. So that's a reality. Anyhow, we are not into politics. We are into Krishna consciousness, right?
This the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, is it like Krishna? He was even gave Duryodhana party. He gave a chance. He saw them also as part of Krishna.
He gave what to Duryodhana?
he was not rejecting them. He
Krishna tried to avoid the Kurukshetra war. Yes, of course he tried to avoid it in many occasions.
He did everything.
But when they insisted on being nonsense, then Krishna also said, that's it. Argumentum ad bacillum. There's no more argument here. Now kick them. That's natural. We are all like this. If anybody comes in here with a big stick now, and he wants to beat Vaidyanath, are we going to just look, okay, beat him, his karma? No. Immediately we get up, stop this! No business to beating a devotee, right? So that means we become Kshatriyas. Immediately become like the fighting for the truth. There's nothing wrong with that. We are not supposed to be crying babies when the danger comes. No, danger comes, we are ready to fight also to defend the innocent. I mean, the scriptures say if you fight, if you're being killed for fighting for an innocent, indefensive person, you will get liberation from that. You will get highest rewards. That's what the scriptures say.
very short. Yeah.
Huh?
I asked once already this question, but what does it mean to understand Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna understood it?
What does it mean? Well, you just have to understand it as Srila Prabhupada understood it. And Srila Prabhupada put it in a purpose, as it is. He puts there what it means to serve Krishna according to Arjuna. By doing devotional service, by going and doing something nice, not being any nonsense, being a nice guy, and serving the Lord. Your mind is still arguing?
Yeah, because I had.
Oh, what
I thought all these
what a mind you got.
Hare Krishna.
What you were thinking.
All the people who were with Russia, from Poland until Bulgaria down, they are against them now. They're not even against them. They gave money to kill them. I mean, they're giving money for weapons against Russia. All the friends,
Yes.
ex-friends of Russia.
Yes, because they're all influenced by the American international politics, and they're all upset. Slovenia is upset, Hungary is upset, Poland is upset, the Dutch are upset. Nobody wants to be under the control of the Americans as a nonsense. But Germany, England, and France, they are so much dependent on the US that they have not come out and do the right thing. Can you imagine they want to send soldiers there to fight in Hungary, in Ukraine? Complete nonsense. After so many wars, they still want to make more wars because for them war is business. They make money with wars. They don't care for the children who die there. So I think you should open up your mind politically. You seem to be very much oriented by the mainstream media. And the mainstream media, especially in Europe, and is completely full of lies. The mainstream media all belongs to the same guys who's selling the weapons into the war zone. That's a fact. Same guys. They want war for making money.
Okay, the last one question.
Huh?
Ukraine, if somebody runs behind somebody, said, I want to be with you, I want to be with you. And he said, no, I don't want to be with you. So this is crazy. So Russia is running behind.
What is that? Well, I don't understand your point.
Russia is bullying. They running behind Ukraine said, I want, you must be with me, you must be with me. And Ukraine doesn't want to be with them. So this is criminal. I mean, if somebody runs behind some lady, said, you must marry me, I want to be with you, and she does say, no, I don't want to be with you. Then that's what Russia does to Ukraine. She runs behind them and said, we want to be together, and the Ukraine say, no, I don't want to be with you. So this is I think it's wrong.
This is none of your business, because you're not from Ukraine, and you're not from Russia, and you don't know the exact.
No, my business
you
is
don't
that-
know the exact
Correct, yeah.
circumstances
No, I'm wondering-
why the conflict is there.
I'm wondering
The
why.
conflict is there because they don't want to make peace. They want to make war. They want to make money with the war. That's why there's no peace. Russia simply wanted to have his areas to where his Russian-speaking people live in peace, because they were given trouble, and they didn't want NATO in their neck, because NATO is aggressive. America is very aggressive. You are not well informed. America had an organization called USAID. That organization was responsible for having 81 regime changes in the world by giving money underground to people, to get people against the government, so that they will get a government which is in favor of American politics. 81 regime changes. Where did you hear that? Has India financed any regime change anywhere in the world? No. I don't think Russia either. I don't know. I don't know enough, but definitely America is well known for financing regime changes. In Chile, they had their democratically elected leader killed and put a military junta. And that 81 cases, what are you going to talk? So the Russians says, get these Americans out of my backyard. They made a regime change in Ukraine. They had a pro-Russian friendly president there in Ukraine, and they kicked him out and put a pro-American guy there. And then they start the war. So don't get involved with it. It's nonsense. Just think about it. Europe attacked Russia. They wanted to colonialize Russia, just like they colonialized everywhere else. Did you know that the British, they colonialized the Irish? Did you know that? Did you know that the first slaves, they were Irish slaves taken by the British and sold to Africa? Because the Africans, they wanted to have white women slaves. So they got Irish Britishers, they took Irish women for slavery and sold them to Africa. That happened before the slave trade to America. The slave trade of Africans to North America and South America, that came after. First slave traders, they were the Britishers. Did you know that?
know that the Irish have ressentiments, they don't like the English.
They have a good reason not to like the English.
Maybe I misunderstood. I didn't understand Bhagavad Gita, or because Krishna, he sees maybe different. I thought they are more governed by principles, but Krishna also says sometimes he's lying, or he says do like this according to circumstances.
No, you're not going to start criticizing Krishna here.
No, I mean, I want to understand Krishna.
Oh.
Prabhupada was saying always, try to understand that you cannot understand. Try to understand that. No?
Thank you. Thank you, Vaidyanatha. Try to understand that you cannot understand. Don't give so much credence to your mind that even questioning Krishna. Yes, Krishna, for his devotee, he does anything. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, you declare it boldly. My devotee will never be finished. I'll defend my devotee. Yes. Do you know the story of the arrows, the 4 arrows?
With Arjuna.
5 arrows. The 5 arrows, do you know that story?
Not so half. I don't know. I
You
heard
only know half. What is half?
I don't know.
Arrows.
Okay, I don't know the story.
Well, one day, Duryodhana was calling Bhishma in the middle of the battlefield, and he said, Bhishma, we are losing the war because of you, because you like the Pandavas. You are not doing real hard fighting, so I'm losing the war because of you. Then Bhishma said, okay, I accept. Tomorrow, I will kill the 5 Pandavas. And I have 5 arrows. Those arrows are blessed. They will never miss the goal. And he showed these 5 arrows. And tomorrow I will kill the Pandavas. Then Duryodhana said, oh, very good, very good, very good. Duryodhana, Bhishma, give me those 5 arrows. I will keep them overnight. And tomorrow I'll give them back to you so you can kill the Pandavas. Bhishma said, okay, if you want, take the arrows. So in the meantime, Krishna is with Arjuna. He says, Arjuna, there's big danger coming. There's 5 arrows. You remember when you were a child, you saved Duryodhana's life. And Duryodhana told you, Arjuna, whatever you ask me, I will give to you. You remember that? Krishna said to Arjuna, now you go to Duryodhana's tent and you ask him the 5 arrows. So how could Krishna know that? Because he's Paramatma. He knows everything. He was there. So Arjuna, because in that time, after the fighting was over, they would meet each other. No? So Arjuna went to the tent of Duryodhana. He said, Duryodhana, I want to talk to you. Okay, Arjuna, come in. What can I do for you? He said, I came to ask for the gift you promised to me as a child. Oh, Duryodhana said, yes, yes, yes. Do you want us to stop the war? Do you want us for you to give us some villages? Whatever? Arjuna said, no, I don't want that. What do you want? I want the 5 arrows of Bhishma Dev. Then Duryodhana said, oh my God. I promised I will give him a boon. Now he's asking a boon, and he asking for the 5 arrows which will kill the Pandavas. Oh! But Duryodhana, he was bound by his promise, so he gave the 5 arrows to Arjuna. Arjuna said, thank you. And he went back to Krishna. And Krishna broke the arrows. Now you cannot kill the Pandavas with this. So next morning, the fight was coming. Bhishma came in his chariot. Okay, Duryodhana, the 5 arrows. The 5 arrows. What happened, Duryodhana? Where are the 5 arrows? I gave them to Arjuna. What? What? Are you crazy? Are you crazy, guy? How you give Arjuna the 5 arrows? Because I made a promise to him when I was a child. Anytime he would ask me for a favor, I have to do it. So he came to my tent at night and he asked for the 5 arrows and I gave it to him. Oh, Bhishma said, this is his tricky Krishna. Only this tricky Krishna. He knew about these 5 arrows. Nobody else knew except you and me. Oh, this Krishna, I will kill Arjuna anyway, without or with this arrow or without. Or Krishna has to break his promise also, because I promised I kill the Pandavas today. Now I don't have the arrows. So the battlefield went in, and Bhishma and Arjuna, and they're fighting and fighting and fighting, and almost Arjuna is finished. Bhishma is about to finish him off. Then Krishna takes the chariot wheel. Now I will kill you, stupid Bhishma. And when Bhishma sees Krishna with the wheel running to him, he says, no problem. If you can break your promise, because Krishna promised not to fight in the battlefield, no. If you can break your promise, I can also break my promise, no problem. And at that moment, the conch shell is sounding. Boom. Day of fighting is over. So Bhishma is not killed by Krishna. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. My devotee will never be finished, even if I have to break my promise. That's Krishna. You don't criticize Krishna. Not even in your mind. Very good. Any other comment or question? Guru Parampara ki jai.